So here we go with January 2017, and I am calling this one plugging back in. So mid-November, there was a big influx of energies that came in. I think it was around, was it the full moon or the super, I don't know. I mean, it was super moon, full moon, power moon, moons over my hammy, portal, something, I don't know. It was always something. But at some point in November, there was a big energetic occurrence. And I felt 2017 energy start to come in really, really powerfully. And then around the first part of January, sorry, I'm a little distracted by this hummingbird I see out there. It's crazy that I'm seeing a hummingbird in December or January. God, it's January. Is that weird? I mean, I digress. It's not important. So we were taken offline in mid-November through December. And the way that I saw this was that, so much of what we were going through, this final, purge, and we were in this transformative state. And I talked about this a lot last year, the difference between healing and transformation, and how healing took us back. It was for the human. Healing took us back, and it dealt with my thing at 5 years old, or the thing that happened when I was 15, or my relationship with my father, or my relationship with that teacher, or what happened, whatever. And then also past lives and lineage stuff and previous stuff, right? We were clearing, healing, bring all of our aspects up to the current point in time. And now we're all aligned, we're all flush, and we're kind of moving now in the same direction. And that's when the transformation begins. So in December, we were really unplugged. We were sort of taken out, of ourselves emotionally. It was like our emotions were kind of unplugged, our passions were unplugged, our desires were unplugged. And for many of us, December was kind of like, I don't care about anything. I don't want to do anything. It all seems boring, right? Or I'm really happy one minute and I'm totally down in the dumps the next minute. It was a crazy month where there was a lot happening internally, but on the outside, it didn't really look like anything at all was happening. December was frustrating because it didn't allow us a lot of forward progression. But of course, as always, this was by design. And the image that I saw was, it's like when the car is up on blocks, or when you're when you're downloading new stuff for your computer. You got to take the vehicle, the vessel, the hardware at some point has to go offline to do the work that needs to be done and to download the new information and to reboot and restart it. So that's what December was. We were taken offline because, since our emotions and our energies are the things that we create from, and we were going through such a crazy level of transformation, that our creations would not have been complete. They would have been, I think, very lopsided, and I think that we weren't even really clear on what we wanted in December. So we were creating with a muddy intention, and that's never really successful. So now, as we're entering January, we are slowly being plugged back in, right? It's like, okay, we're going to bring this back online. We're going to bring that back online. So our emotions, our passions, our desires, our feelings, our, sensations, our awareness becomes brighter and more vibrant and more clarified. So the best way that I can describe what I was seeing was, it's like, previous to 2016 and a lot of 2016 up until the end, was like, we have all these boxes, right? And so there's the anger box, the fear box, the regret box, the memories box, the unresolved emotions box, whatever. So we have all these boxes inside of us. We were so compartmentalized and so partitioned and so divided within ourselves, right? And so the past 4 years and all the work that we did in 2016 was about getting rid of those barriers. It was about integration. It was about clearing out all those old boxes. Let's dump out the anger, dump out the fear, dump out the sorrow, the sadness, the victimhood, the whatever. We just got rid of the content of those stories. So we deleted the content because we were ready for the new content to come in, right? If you watched the the 2017 energy update, I talked about this, how our fields were recalibrated and our fields were rewritten with clearer, deeper, more profound truths, right? We have never been this close to the truth of who we are while in physical form. So all of these partitions and these walls were knocked down. All this integration happened. We got really, really clear. We did our inventories and we got rid of all the stuff we didn't need. We healed. And then we came to mid-November, early December, and we were left with all these empty boxes. And that's what the transformation piece was. It was going through and getting rid of the containers altogether. It was getting rid of identities. It was getting rid of personalities. It was getting rid of stories and beliefs. It was getting rid of anything that partitioned us or separated us from the truth. Also, this was happening multidimensionally. So not only am I having this experience as Andrew in this point in time, in this place right here, I'm also having the other aspects of Andrew, either multidimensional or off planet or in the past or in another world, where also these partitions were starting to crumble. And so integrations were happening on multiple levels. And so all of this integrating has now happened, and we're left with all these containers, and now we got rid of all the containers and the content. So now this house is clean. Now we are standing more united, more unified, more in union with our masculine, feminine, our physical and our non-physical. We emerge as the divine human. We emerge as the new human. We emerge as the master creator who is in co-creation with their aspects all of the time. And we emerge ready to go. And we've got all these containers chucked out. We've gotten rid of the stuff, the partitions and the clutter. And so now things can start to be turned back on. And we're going to see, it's going to be a very interesting process how this happens, because it's going to be just a level of awareness of like, oh, wow, there's that idea. There's that inspiration. There's that motivation. There's that impetus. There's that inspiration. There's that knowing. There's that answer. There's the thing I was looking for. It just pops in because we're now being rebooted and turned back on. So all the downloads and the new programs that we have been receiving over the past few weeks are now viable and live, and we're starting to unbox them and unpack them. So it was old empty boxes with no container or with no content, and then we had to chuck the container. So for many of us, this was like a crazy, crazy loss of identity. There was this like, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I like. I don't know what's exciting. I don't know what's interesting. Nothing really feels the same anymore. I don't know what's going on. And it was a total mind-blowing experience for many of us to have this very strange sort of surreal, dreamlike experience in December. And now that we're starting to wake back up, we're starting to see that all the content that we've been waiting for, the new stuff, is here. And so January for most of us, and really the big picture for January, is we're just starting to kind of unbox it and really see what we've got here, right? Oh, I've got a new set of manuals. Oh, I got a new set of guides. Oh, I have a new set of abilities. Oh, I have a new set of understanding. So that's what January is a lot about. It is also finalizing incomplete actions and choices from 2016. If there's anything that you have not completed, you're going to do it in January. Because if you don't do it, you're not going to really be moving on until you do. So if you've not dealt with it, now's the time to do it. If you've not been completely honest about it, this is the month that it's going to happen. If you've not been entirely willing to be completely honest and verbal with those people in your lives, sometimes it comes down to tough love. Sometimes I just have to say, look, I can't be around you anymore. Because, the vibration that I'm in doesn't allow me to be compatible with you. We're not compatible. We want different things. I've got to move on. I can't do this anymore. I can't pretend that I'm happy when I'm not. I can't pretend that things are good when they're not. I can't pretend that things are running smoothly when I feel all out of whack and out of balance. You can't pretend anymore. You've got to be willing to show up and be honest in your life on all levels. And if you are not, if you think that you're going to get away with it, surprise, you're in for a rude fucking awakening. Because again, the environment just does not support that. It just doesn't support it. So you got to get really, really clear, and you've got to make those decisions. You've got to put the final nail on the coffin, or you got to finally put the pin in it, or make the decision, or tear off the Band-Aid, or whatever metaphor you want to use. Now is the time to do it, because you're not going to be able to proceed until you do. You also can't do this fake spirituality thing. And I see this happen with everybody who goes on a spiritual journey, and I had the same experience myself. This fake idea of like, oh, I'm being compassionate, oh, I'm being loving, but you're not being honest, right? This idea that I'm doing it for the good of others, but I'm just using that as an excuse to prevent myself from doing my own work, right? I'm sort of hiding behind this path of service because I feel that I can't do what I really want to do, or I feel like I'm inferior, or I feel like I have to be the assistant because I'm not good enough to step into the spotlight on my own. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like this idea of hiding behind saying that I'm doing something when my real motivation is that I don't think I'm good enough, or I'm worthy to do it on my own, right? Or I can't, I have to hide behind this mask or this idea of who I want people to think I am so that I don't get rejected or called out or whatever. No, you can't do. And I've dealt with this, my own experiences this past year. In July and August, when I was going through that whole rebrand and really had to step forward and really had to pull off the mask. I really had to come into my truth. And now I'm even being pushed further. I'm getting ready to do a big rebrand. I'm getting ready to do a complete and total shift in the way that I work. And all of it has just been this incremental process, and I've just been sort of forced to let go and go with the flow. I had to stop hiding behind this small idea of who I thought I was because that idea was safe and that idea was something that I could, easily stomach, right? It felt palatable. It felt like, well, I won't be too weird. I won't be too rejected. People aren't going to judge me too much. It's such a waste of time. You have to get really, really clear. You have to be willing to step out into the fore of your experience and be honest and be real and be true. You can't pretend anymore. All bets are off. We're being plugged back in, and now any glitches or any errors or any bugs in the system are going to be really glaringly obvious, and we will not be able to proceed until we deal with them. I just want to make sure that I'm getting all of my notes here. Oh, okay, so the last one. This is a Fire Rooster year. Chinese astrology, Chinese zodiac, this is the year of the rooster, this is the year of the fire rooster. Man, this is going to be a wake-up call of all wake-up calls, mostly for the next wave. But the wake-up call is going to be very cool. So I think it's like, the 28th or the end of January when the lunar, is it the Lunar New Year? I'm so sorry for my ignorance. But January 28th, I think, is Chinese New Year. And so when that energy comes in and it's already starting to come in, it's going to be a wake-up call. So for those of us who are already awake, right, those of us who are already conscious and aware of what's happening, it is going to be the wake-up call for us to proceed to the next level, and we will be passing the baton. The wake-up call for those who are still asleep is going to be the wake-up call that many of us had over these past 4 years of like, oh, okay, something new, something different, I don't know who I am, all of this is, whatever. And the wake-up call for those who have, so the people that I have been assisting, I'm just going to make this really simple. The people that I have been assisting in awakening and getting to their truth and making progress up the path, now I am handing the baton to them, and they're the ones that are going to going to be working with a new wave of people who are just awakening now. So those of us who are doing this work previously, now we are moving up to another level. We are moving up to another level of awareness and another level of energetics, and we will be working in new ways with new groups of people and doing new things, and it's going to be very, very interesting to see how this unfolds, because what I have been seeing is that these details come to the fore around the middle of February. So after the end of January, when the year of the Fire Rooster begins and we all get that wake-up call and the purpose and the clarity becomes really, really clear and begins to lead us forward again, begins to call us into the new direction, begins to connect us with the new resources and the new people and all of that stuff. That really comes on strong in the beginning or middle of February into the beginning of March, when we go, oh, okay, cool. Now these little inklings and these intuitions and these little knowings that I've been getting, now they're practical and they're real and they're tangible, and I can actually start to move forward and make progress and do the new thing. So there is going to be another big shift in terms of our paths of service and who we're serving and how. But again, we don't really need to know the why. The why isn't really super important, or the when or the how, because you just show up and it's going to be there. I promise. Just like always before, when you just show up and you're willing and you allow yourself to be a vessel, Spirit takes care of the rest. Because we are now, for this entire year, but January of 2017 is about us getting comfortable again and starting to rev up our speed and build the momentum in our co-creative process, because we are now in constant co-creation with our divine selves. We are now emerging as the divine human, and the momentum that we are building, we are doing it in partnership with our divine selves. That's why December and the first part of January felt so like I wasn't doing anything, like what's going on? I'm not making any progress, or it's like 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. It's because a lot of the stuff that was being done by our non-physical counterparts. So it was kind of being done on our behalf, right? They're doing their part to set it up for us and to build it so that by the time we show up, it's ready to go and we can just step up and do our work. So 2017 is more of that. Just because you don't see forward action and you don't see a lot happening out here in the secondary reality doesn't mean that there's not a lot going on. So from the naked eye or from the outsider's perspective, they might say, well, Andrew's not really doing anything. He's just kind of hanging out, which was really a lot of my December. But because there's so much going on internally. So January is when we start to wake back up. We start to get plugged back in, and we start to feel the engines revving and the motors running again, and we're starting to move forward and make progress and see traction and momentum occur. But if you're not being honest, if you're not being real, if you're not being true, if you're still trying to avoid and put your head in the sand, sorry, you're just not going to get anywhere. And the other side of that is it's not like you have to go through this laborious process. Release and surrender and healing happens almost instantaneously now. So don't be afraid of the thing that you haven't been willing to do up until this point. Do it, turn and face it, dive in, because it's going to happen so much more quickly than it could ever before, because again, we are now in a new energetic landscape that supports spontaneous healing. I think that's it. Just want to make sure. Yeah, I think that's good. Wow. So there you go, my friends. Happy fucking 2017. We made it. We are here, and things are only going to get more and more interesting and exciting and wonderful and crazy and adventuresome and all that stuff. And when the cloud passes across the sun, when that negativity or the unwanted shows up, you don't have to be afraid of it. You just have to love it and accept that it is as it is, and then it will be transformed. But when you meet the secondary reality with your primary reality vibration, and I remember that I am asserting myself energetically into the matrix, and that the primary reality always influences the secondary reality, that's all I got to remember. Just go with the flow. Just be easy about it. Just chill out. Let go of the drama. Let go of the stories. Let go of the beliefs. Let go of the expectations. Just show up. Just show up. Just show up and you'll know what to do. Just show up and you'll be given the tools or the words or the ideas or the insight or whatever you require. No more fear. No more fear. It's a waste of time. It's a waste of time. And it will always be there. Fear is the companion that's always hanging around in the background. So just because you may have a moment of fear, no reason to panic and think it's all falling apart. You just go, oh, I see, that's my old friend. Yeah, he's back there. So that's it. 2017, y'all. It's here. Here we go. Go to my website, thelightedones.com. Subscribe below. I'm on Facebook as The Lighted Ones, Instagram as The Lighted Ones. Use the book a session button on my website to book with me. My rates have gone back up to their full rate. So until further notice, I will not be doing a reduced rate again. Book a session with me. I promise I can help you in 60 minutes. The energy work that I've been doing now in sessions is so powerful and so transformative. So that is going to be coming in more and more in my work in the upcoming year. It's a big shift. It's another big step in the evolution of who we are. And I think it's really fucking exciting and I can't wait to see it. Thank you as always for watching. I wish you nothing but the best in 2017. I love you and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.